The winner of the 1957 Nobel Peace Prize is Lester B Pearson. He was born and raised in Toronto about 60 years ago, and ever since then has been an outstanding Canadian. Learning at the University of Toronto and volunteering for World War I are just a few examples. His career started off in 1928 when he entered the Canadian Department of External Affairs. He remained Secretary of External Affairs until 1935, when he was appointed Counselor at the Office of the High Commissioner in Canada, London, Ontario. Then appointed to Canadian Minister in Washington, stayed there, and later became Ambassador. In 1951, he reached an important part of his life and became the Secretary of External Affairs in the Canadian government. Lester B Pearson has won this award because he is full of powerful initiative, strength, and perseverance, which were shown in his successful efforts in preventing a war and restoring peace where it was needed in the 1956 Suez Crisis. The Suez Crisis was a military and political confrontation in Egypt that threatened to divide the United States and Great Britain, potentially harming the Western military alliance that had won the Second World War. The Suez Canal was a direct link from the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea, which was a vital passage for transporting oil, which was used by France, Britain, and Israel. The Egyptian leader decided to put tax when passing through the river. These countries did not like this and started plotting against Egypt. Mr. Pearson has prevented a war by working with his colleagues at the United Nations. He developed a large-scale peacekeeping force, and this is the first of its kind. This idea was never used before, and in conclusion worked, preventing a war and maintaining peace. This is why I am glad to present the Nobel Peace Prize of 1957 to Lester B Pearson. Congratulations.
I am honored to win an award of this kind, and I don't think any greater honor can come to an individual than an award for work or peace. And I am the more moved by this award when I think of the great men and the work they have done for peace who have preceded me as winning the Nobel Peace Prize. I would like to open the floor to any questions anyone may have.
What do you think your next step will be in politics?
I am so proud to be Canadian and determined to keep peace in the world that I have been deciding to take my future to the next level and run for Prime Minister of Canada. As Prime Minister of Canada, I can take a small step forward for world peace and keep peace within Canada. I am intensely interested in doing what I can to carry out the policy of my government and my country by keeping peace.
Why did you feel it was your duty a year ago to help prevent a war between these foreign countries?
As an adult, my life has been spent without peace and too many complications without other countries and in the atmosphere of international conflict, of fear and insecurity. As a soldier, I survived World War I when most of the comrades did not. As a civilian during the Second World War, I was exposed to danger and circumstances which remove any distinctions between the man in and the man out of the uniform. And I have lived since, as you have, in a period of Cold War during which we have ensured by our achievements in the science and technology of destruction that a third act in this tragedy of war will result in the peace of extinction. I have therefore compelling reasons and some opportunity to think about peace, to ponder over our failures since 1914 to establish it, and to shudder at the possible consequences if we continue to fail.
What do you think the significance of this large-scale peacekeeping force you have established for future events?
I do feel very intensely that as the dangers and tensions increase, that it will fuel the search for a solution to international problems, that if not solved will grow and lead to mass destruction. And I feel firmly that the answer is this large-scale peacekeeping force. Well, I hope that it can do what it is designed to do, which was to remain a neutral force in international disputes, and to help countries come to a ceasefire and maintain peace. I think this is significant because if we had a force like this in the past, it could have had intercepted large wars, and now we would have it for future events, and I am positive that it will be a large influence on keeping peace in the international community.
What do you think the short-term and long-term impact was of preventing the Suez crisis?
Well, if the Suez crisis had developed into a war, we would have failed yet again as an international community to maintain peace. Potentially, if a war began, it would have harmed the Western military alliances that won both the world wars and could have pushed the world into another world war. The long-term impact was saving these nations and possibly the world from debt, destruction, and sadness that another world war could have caused.
What do you think the significance of you winning this award is for Canada?
Canada has always tried to play a constructive and vigorous part in the search for peace, and I was lucky enough to be the spokesman of Canada in that work. Canada is already known throughout the world for its readiness and contribute troops or support to keep peacekeeping missions, and winning this award displays how Canada supports world peace. And I also think this is significant because this is the first time Canada has won the Nobel Peace Prize, and it displays that Canada is willingly ready to take a step past war and working together with the international community to maintain world peace. I'd like to end on that note and thank you once again for this terrific prize.